What is up, everybody? Justin back. I know that it has been a while. Again, time has gotten away from me. Again, my job has been really busy. Life's been busy. So, but finally, I have some time to sit down and talk about some stuff. And like I say every time, I hope that it's not another month before I do one of these. I like to get into doing them about once a week. I just wrapped up, I'm in the process of wrapping up a huge graphic design project that I've been working on for a few years. And it's metal related. You'll all know what it is soon. But I've been working on it. I'm getting down to, it was getting down to the wire, so I was really focusing on it a lot lately. It's taking up a lot of my time. But I've got a little breather now. So, I've got a stack of new stuff. I'm going to do this new stuff video, then I'm going to get right back into doing the CD collection videos. You know, we're halfway through there. And I'll get back into the swing of things real soon, I promise. So, new stuff. Over the past month, I've got some more new stuff. And we'll check it out. First, we're listening to Morgue, Eroded Thoughts. And I just got this. So, Morgue is one of those early 90s death metal bands that kind of got lost in the shuffle. I've always known there was a death metal band called Morgue, or there's dozens of death metal bands called Morgue. This popped up on YouTube for me recently. I had it auto-playing like old death metal stuff when I was at work. And this popped up, and I really liked it. But they're one of those bands that kind of came and went. They put out a couple demos. They did this album, Eroded Thoughts, only album they did in '93, and broke up sometime after then. But just killer Midwestern death metal. Real riffy, real technical, a little thrashy, but unpredictable. It reminds me of Brutality a lot. Not a lot of, you know, verse, chorus, song structure, which I really like it being kind of obtuse like that. They have one of my favorite logos. This version is real cleaned up, but they have a version of this logo that's real dirty looking. Anyway, they're just an old, kind of obscure Midwestern death metal band from the early 90s. This tape just got reissued by Headsplit Records. Headsplit is out of the Pacific Northwest. They're doing a lot of stuff right now. And after having listened to this a couple months ago, seeing this reissue pop up, I immediately grabbed it. So along with that, I bought these. Both full lengths from Viscera Infest. Viscera Infest and Morgue have absolutely nothing in common with each other. Kind of surprised that Headsplit put out the Morgue tape, because Headsplit does a lot of more kind of grindy, gory type stuff. But Viscera Infest, a lot of you probably are familiar with them. They are the Japanese gore grind band that has been making waves in the past few years on the back of their extremely fast drummer. I've been following Viscera Infest for a few years, and it started as kind of this novelty thing. They have a drummer. He plays really fast, but he plays natural. You know, no triggers, very simple drum kit. Just a hard, fast, he's this little bitty tiny Japanese guy. His setup is real weird. His stool is really high, his drum throne. His cymbals are really high. He plays with one tom. It's really high. So, but he's super fast. And they have some live videos that are just kind of fucking bananas looking, with lots of blood and, you know. They toured the States earlier this year, last year, and made a lot of waves with their they encourage people to roll around the floor like cockroaches, and some people think it's funny, and some people think it's stupid. but I had the chance to finally see them at NDF when I was over in the Netherlands, and they were fucking awesome. They had this kind of carcass thing going. They kind of sound, you know, a little carcassy, a lot carcassy, but it's just killer, riffy gore grind. I think their tag is forensic bulldozer grind or something like that. But they're sick, man. They have enough identity in their music, enough, you know, dynamic that you're not just listening to the same gurgly bullshit over and over again. But this is their 2 full lengths, Verrucous Carcinoma and Sarcoidosis. Fucking super nasty pictures and layouts. But they're good. The drummer, the popular drummer, is only on one of these. I just got him. I haven't listened to him yet. One's on a red shell. One's on a yellow shell. That looks really cool. And the layouts are very, you know, Japanese looking. They kind of remind me of Alarma magazine out of Mexico. That's probably where all the pictures came from. But Viscera Infest, just if you like old carcass, you like grind, you like gore grind, that's right up your alley. So, let me see. I have 1 CD. So, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I went to see the Devastation of the Nation tour with Dark Funeral headlining and Incantation and Belphegor and Hate. Nightmare, Veil of Pnath. I went, primarily to see Incantation because they're friends of mine and one of my favorite death metal bands of all time. I really wanted to see Dark Funeral. I've always liked Secrets of the Black Arts a lot, and I really like their last album a lot. If you go back in my CD collection videos, I talk about both of them. But Belphegor, I have The Last Supper, their first album. I have it on CD and LP. And I've always liked it. It's just kind of like, you know, dirty old Black Death record. And then they got into this, you know, kind of overproduced, real Photoshoppy artwork, leather pants, and, you know, goats and zombies and bondage, and it's just... their presentation got real stupid looking, in my opinion. Well then, for whatever reason, their most recent album caught my eye, Totem Ritual. And I checked it out on YouTube a couple months ago and instantly fucking loved it. It's real, it's slick, it's produced well, just riffy black death metal. Lots of identity to it, you know, it's catchy, you get into it. But at the same time, it's heavy and it's evil and it sounds genuine. So I was looking forward to seeing Belphegor that night. Quick show review. Veil of Pnath. They play kind of technical-ish, you know, death black metal. It sounded fine, like sonically. I thought that the singer's stage presence banter was a little silly. I don't know, it wasn't my thing, man. And then I missed Nightmare, which I had no desire to see Nightmare. They're like this genty, scrunky, fucking groovy metal band. I follow their guitar player on Instagram. He has an account that's real guitar oriented, gear oriented, and I like him, but I'm not at all interested in his band. Kind of, they had to have paid to get on that tour. I think that tour is the first shows they've ever played, which is just insane to me. Anyway. Hate was next? No, Incantation was next. And Incantation was great. They had to play an abbreviated set, which sucked. No, Hate was next. Yeah, Hate was next. Hate was like Dollar General fucking budget behemoth. And it was boring. I watched a couple songs and went outside. Not my thing. You know, I've listened to Hate here and there over the past, you know, couple decades. I've always known their name and that they were this Polish death metal band. Never did anything for me. Incantation, they played a sick fucking set. It was only like 9 or 10 songs, so it's a short Incantation set. They usually play twice that many. But they are firing on all cylinders. They're touring with a new drummer. His name is Charlie. I know Charlie. He is the drummer for Golgotha at one time. He was there. He was for their entire existence. He's Ascended Dead's drummer. He is Funebrarum's drummer. He's been in several bands, but he's filling in now with Incantation domestically. And Kyle Severn is not able to tour right now, so they have a guy that handles Europe, Frank, and then Charlie is now playing American shows. And he fucking killed it. They opened with fucking Golgotha, and it was so sick. Always enjoy seeing them. Then Belphegor played, and I said, "Oh, I want to check Belphegor out." And they have this real, like, deliberate stage presence. Corpse paint and blood and bones and shit, and, you know, these altar pieces. But immediately, like, their stage presence was there. And I really liked their singer's performance. He's a guitar player, but just his facial expressions and the structure to what they were doing, it did it for me. So having known I listened to this record a bunch, I went and bought it. It was the only thing I bought that night. And I need to listen to it. But I mentioned they've been doing this Photoshoppy artwork. I really like the art on this one. Now, this is all cobbled together images from the internet. There's nothing drawn or, you know, there's no painting. It's just Photoshop work, but it's done very, very well. The guy, the main guy from Septicflesh does all their artwork. But I haven't had a chance to listen to this yet because my car does not have a CD player. I haven't been in this room to listen to CDs in weeks. I usually listen to tapes, but I need to figure out a CD player situation for my car. But anyway, then got some records. So, number one, I got this today. Speaking of Incantation, Enchantment of Evil. This is a brand new reissue of Enchantment of Evil by 7 Inches of Metal Records. 7 Metal Inches Records. They put out a book last year sometime, which chronicled, you know, death metal 7-inch records. I haven't gotten it. I like to get it. But this is a re-release, a new re-release of their first 7-inch. And this is the lineup that had Will from Mortician singing, which is fucking awesome. And I got the one that is on this really cool, like, cyan blue vinyl. Now, this is my third version of this 7-inch. I have the Relapse version, the Seraphic Decay version, and now this version. And the inside kind of tells a story of the liner notes from John about the release, which is neat. I haven't read it all yet. But this, you know, there are some bands where I want everything, and Incantation is one of those bands, so I snatched this up immediately. I'll listen to it a couple times. I mean, I know these songs backwards and forwards, and I have them on several formats. But this is cool. It's a cool release. So then, let's see. Been on a big Emulation kick. So I picked up Failures for Gods last week. One of my internet buddies, Lance. I think Lance watches my videos. What's up? He is selling all of his records right now. And he said he wants to start over. And so I snatched this one up. This is a re-release from a couple of years ago. It's on red vinyl. Here's something cool. See that one little black dot? right there. That is one little black vinyl dot in this red record, which means that one little red pebble got dropped in it, which I think is funny. Anyway, I love Emulation, and I've been on a big Emulation kick lately. The first time I saw Emulation was in 1999 on this tour, but then I've never owned this album. So when he listed this for sale, it was only $20. I snatched it up, and it's killer. My favorite Emulation is Here and After. It was the first one I ever bought and heard. And Failures for Gods is probably a very close second. That and Dawn of Possession. So, which Dawn of Possession on vinyl is my next Emulation purchase. I need to get that soon. So, then I got 3 new records. I mentioned several new stuff videos ago about a record store here in town that's not really a record store. It's more of like it's kind of like just a media, it's kind of like a slash pawn shop slash junk store. But this store has just thousands of records in it, where this guy, I think he's bought collections throughout the years, and it leans pretty heavy into, metal and rock from the 80s. That's where I bought that original Guns N' Roses record and a bunch of Iron Maiden singles earlier this year. Anyway, me and my buddy Amos, who is the drummer in Father Befouled now, we went there a few weeks ago, and I bought a few records. First, I picked up Hotter Than Hell. Hands down, my favorite Kiss record. I talked about Kiss in one of the very first CD collection videos I did. It took me years to really warm up to Kiss. I've always liked them and appreciated who they were, but the novelty, never really, it turned me off. But musically, they clicked with me last year, somewhere in there. And I love Hotter Than Hell. So this was, $16. It's an original press, Casablanca Records. It is in, the shape of a record from that era to be in. It's 40 years old. So it's 45 years old. But I love the fucking artwork and layout, and man, this one's got fucking Parasite and Going Blind, which is my absolute favorite Kiss song. And Strange Ways, man. Fucking Coming Home, Mainline. Strange Ways. Fucking Peter Criss is the unsung fucking hero of this band. He is the best vocalist this band ever had. And you can't change my mind. But that song fucking rules. Hotter Than Hell rules. And I'm glad to snatch this up. I mean, again, this record's probably a dime a dozen, but that's a legit OG copy, so I don't mind paying $15 for it. So, speaking of fucking nostalgia, this goes way back for me, 30 years. When I was 7, 8 years old, man, this was my favorite shit on earth. Around the time that, I started to listen to music on my own and not just what my parents listened to, Def Leppard was a band that I latched onto. And I just worshipped this fucking album, man. And went, going back from there, Pyromania, On Through the Night, High and Dry, everything up to this fucking rule. Especially, the ones where they were still kind of a fucking new wave of heavy metal band. New wave of British heavy metal band. Now this is definitely like their mega record. Their corporate, stadium, arena, rock record. But it's so good. And it just, listening to this, I put it on the second I got home. It puts me in that, it just reminds me of my childhood in a very, very positive way. But I love this album, man, and I worship fucking Def Leppard this and before, man, that's right here. So this is an OG copy, original Hysteria. It's got this like, it looks like it got wet at one point. They had 3 copies, and the other 2 were in like way better condition, but they were double the price, so I just snatched this one. I'm not worried about it. So, the first time I went to the store, I saw this record there. And, you know, you all know that Integrity is my favorite band of all time. I did a 30-minute video just about Integrity. And Systems Overload, their second full-length, is of course one of my favorite albums of all time. But I never had an original copy of it. I have a re-release that came out a couple years ago that's excellent. But this was sitting there earlier this year. It was $80. Original Victory Records press. This record's only been pressed twice. This one and the re-release, and that's it. So, I had told Amos when we went, I said, man, they got this original Integrity record that I really want. We weren't there fucking 5 minutes, and he was like, it's still here. He came across it, but it was only $60. Now, that's expensive for a record, but I had to do it. Snatched it up, $60. It's in, to be 25 years old, it's in killer condition. It's a black vinyl. There is a clear vinyl version of this that, if I ever see it, I'll probably buy it. Integrity is another band just like Incantation that I have to have. I'll buy anything. So it still has the insert. This record is a piece of history for me, and it's really, really, really important emotionally and musically to me. So huge influence, especially lyrically and thematically. Integrity really set the stage for the way I write lyrics, along with a few other bands years ago. So really, really happy to have that. So, last and most certainly not least, this one came out of nowhere for me. Warning, Watching from a Distance. Hard glare. This is hard to this is a matte, finish, and it's really, really dark. So when you print these dark colors on matte stock like this, it soaks it up and you can't really see it. That's just more designer nerdery for you. There it is. So, anyway, Warning, Watching from a Distance. This is a Doom record. Very, very traditional, clean sounding Doom. And I've known about this band for many years. Always ignored them. Didn't know anything about them. I had no inkling to think I might like that. And a couple of friends of mine, I knew, just loved this record. Wayne being one of them, who me and Ben talk about in every video because Wayne's been in 1,000 bands. And I knew that he always loved this album. And we listened to it some trip, driving to some show, and it stuck with me a little bit. I was like, I like that. I understand why it's so revered. And then several weeks ago, something prompted me to go, okay, go listen to Warning. So I went and I downloaded it. And it might have been just right time, right place. But I listened to this album every day for like 2 weeks. Just every night I put it on, or when I was at work. I've been working by myself a lot lately. In a situation where I can have music playing, and I was just listening to this over and over again. So then after a week of that, I immediately fucking bought it. Got on Discogs, got this for, $16 or something. It has a seam split, which was not described in the description, which pisses me off. But other than that, it's in perfect condition. So this record is extremely forlorn sounding. If you were in a bad place emotionally over a relationship, this one's either going to help you or hurt you. I fortunately am not in that kind of place, but it is so somber sounding, and there's so much emotion in it Patrick Walker's vocals are very, very distinct. He's got this real kind of high, you know, you can hear that he's English. He has this accent, and they're kind of nasally. And I've talked to people who say that you either, you know, it's a turnoff immediately, or it's what clicks with you. And his vocals are what clicked with me. And to be kind of a clean record, it's real heavy. There's lots of depth and width and breadth, you know, girth to the lots of th words to the songs and the guitars. But you know, it's only 5 songs. They're all super long. My favorite is Bridges. There's a line in it. He says it several times every chorus. He says, I wish you were here with me tonight. And just, man, the emotion in his voice when it says it just fucking stabs you in the guts. But if you don't know this record and you like Doom, please go check it out. And I know there's a lot of you out there that probably fucking adore this. And this is one of these records that, like, within just of me really getting into it for a couple of weeks, it's going to stick with me for years. It's going to go down as a favorite record. I don't have, like, a top 20 records of all time or anything like that, but Warning it would definitely be up there. Definitely be up there. They have a record that preceded this one that I listened to a couple times and couldn't really get into. And then when Warning broke up, they reformed. I don't know how many members did, but they started another band called 40 Watt Sun that is kind of in the same vein. And I've listened to a little bit of it. I can't get into it. But this one, man, Watching from a Distance, this is the banger. So, anyway, that's it for this round. I somehow managed to still shit out a 30-minute video. I will have a collection video, not a collection video, a CD collection video up very soon, I promise. I'm going to get back into this, so let's talk about these. Comment, like, subscribe, tell your friends. My subscribers have just fucking quit because when you're not posting, no one's looking at your shit. So I really want to get to 1,000 subscribers pretty soon because I'm hoping after 1,000 subscribers it'll really start to ramp up. But I'm going to really try to get back into doing this because I still love it. So let's talk about these, and I got more coming for you. I'll talk to you soon.